Christy Ciezki is a very dear friend of mine. I've known her for years and years and years, and she is a wealth of knowledge. So Caitlin and I have asked her to join us today to talk about how COVID has impacted our careers. So we know COVID has impacted us in many, many ways, but our careers is a really big one. So whether you are working or you've lost your job or you are working from home or having to manage or adapt, Christy is here today to help us through some of these topics and talk a little bit about that. Do you want to kind of intro yourself a little bit, Christy?
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you to both of you for having me. I'm excited to do this. I've never done a live video before, so this is fun. As you said, I'm a management consultant with Western Management Consultants in Edmonton, and have probably the last 5 years of my consulting practice has been working on supporting leaders, teams, and individuals through coaching, facilitation, and just in general business consulting advice around a variety of talent and people and HR issues. So definitely the current situation has had a lot of my clients asking questions about, sort of how do we reimagine our world of work as it once was into something completely new, and how do we continue to function effectively in this new world? So I'm excited for the conversation today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think we wanted to have you on because our audience with Grace and Flow, we have a vast variety of people. Either they are full-time employees, they are stay-at-home moms who are now having to teach their kids at home, and we have a lot of entrepreneurs too, or small businesses that are either online or brick and mortar. So, and this seems to be affecting everybody in some way. So I think what you have to say and all the tips that you have to give today are going to benefit a lot of people.
Great. Well, I'll share that since the three of us sort of had a preliminary conversation, each of you had some great comments to share as well. So, I think the intent of today is that it be really conversational, and we'll share some of the comments that you've received from some of your followers as well, and hopefully integrate those in our conversation. So how do you ladies want to start off?
That's great. So, Christy, I was thinking, because you are obviously working from home and still being very productive and staying motivated, and I mean, I always feel way more motivated after I talk to you and hear what sorts of things you're doing and what's going on in your life. So maybe you can just tell us, even personally, just sort of how this has affected you and if it's changed anything for you and your clients.
Absolutely. So, I mean, definitely it's changed a lot of things. A lot of my business is dependent on my ability to do business development and be out and meeting with clients and talking with people. And so that has definitely been impacted, but sort of my strategy has been to continue to reach out to my clients throughout what's going on, just to find out how they're doing and check in and make sure that they know that I'm there for them, just to have a conversation or help them through any issues that they might be having. That said, I would say I've definitely noticed a slowdown in work when crisis hits and financials are difficult. Often the last person that we're looking to hire is a consultant, which is an additional expense. But I will say I do have a couple of contracts and have continued some of the existing ones I have. So it has allowed me to be able to continue to work from home, which is great, and continue to support clients. That said, the added layer of complexity is now working at home with a family that is also working at home simultaneously. So, being a teacher, a mom, and still trying to get all the regular things done at home, which I know each of you are managing as well in your own ways. So it's, we keep hearing the word unprecedented times, which I think is so true. And I think there's no rule book or playbook about how to manage this. And so we're each doing the best that we can.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so true. And I love the fact that you said that you're reaching out to your clients and just checking in with them and seeing how they're doing. What is sort of the consensus? Is everybody still sort of status quo, or what's happening right now with people in their jobs?
Yeah, good question. I think, initially, I think we're on I would say week 6 for us here in Alberta. I don't know if you're the same in Saskatchewan and BC, of sort of when, all, broke loose, like I like to, we've been referring to it. But I think the first month or first 3 weeks was sort of a bit chaotic in terms of figuring out, what's going to happen to a lot of my clients, the service delivery. So, some of my clients offer service to the public. And so that really, of course, it was mass panic of what is this going to look like, to some clients dealing with layoffs, temporary work stoppages, reduction of salary, a bunch of different measures to sort of manage the potential financial impacts to their businesses. And I think now I see from what I've heard and, in my discussions with clients, we're sort of settling now into a bit of a calmer period of, sort of the heightened chaos and mass amount of changes within a very short period of time has settled a little bit. And now we're trying to reimagine how to continue to work during the state that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because I think
tips
you're
are
right.
you- Sorry, Jess.
Okay, go ahead.
It sounds like there's a wide variety of concerns that a lot of your clients are going through. So what are some tips that you have for them, for the people that are working from home now with their family and everything?
Yeah. So I think, I've been offering suggestions both to individual employees that are working from home and leaders. And I think the conversation is really the same for both in different ways. It's about reimagining how we manage our time, how we measure our productivity. I think what we were seeing initially is sort of this, I could be working 12 hours a day is a lot of the comments that I'm getting from people because I'm online all the time and I have nothing else to do. So, there's still balance of managing your well-being and sort of work-life balance in a totally different way than it was before. I know you guys have some great suggestions around that as well. And Caitlin, maybe you can jump in and share some of those with us at this point.
Yeah, I think for those that are working from home, like you said, it's kind of like, well, I could be working 12 hours a day because I have not much else to do, but that's just going to, I think, increase burnout, even though you're at home. And also when you aren't working 12 hours a day, or you're not even meeting your 8 hours a day like you typically would at work, at your workplace, you can start to feel a sense of guilt, or shame that you're putting on yourself because you're not doing enough or you aren't at work for that many hours. So I think shifting perspective and thinking, okay, I'm going to work 2 hours in the morning and then maybe 2 hours in the evening after my kids are in bed, and time blocking into more manageable pieces. And then that in turn also helps rid yourself of some of the guilt or the stress that we put on ourselves for not doing enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, we have to recognize that just because the workday used to be, 8 till 4, 9 to 5:30, or whatever your schedule might have been in the past, I think initially people sort of thought, okay, well, I have to do the exact same thing now, but from home. And then quickly got frustrated when that was really challenging and not possible, having kids home and all kinds of other things happening in their life. And so I think we're starting to realize that, the way we block out the time, like you've just spoken to, Caitlin, it's okay to figure that out in a different way. If you're a morning person, like for myself, I get up at 6 o'clock and I'll work for a couple of hours before my son even is up. And then I feel like I've had a couple of hours of being super productive. I've gotten some things done. And then if I take the next couple of hours to spend, doing mom duties and helping him with schoolwork, I don't feel this constant weight of, I haven't started yet. I haven't gotten anything done yet. Or if you're a night owl, maybe you do it in the evening after the kids are in bed, if you're a parent. So I think it's all about, even for leaders, and that's a lot of the conversations I've been having with leaders of organizations around, well, how do I motivate my staff? How do I know that they're working from home? Should I be making them fill out a timesheet? Should I, and all of those things I think just add to the stress and anxiety of what's really going on right now. And we've had conversations about sort of reimagining what productivity and workplace success looks like now. So, it's not just about clocking an 8-hour day. And when we really, ponder that, is that a great measure of success or productivity anyways? And will we ever go back to that as being a measure? My guess is probably not. That's just not realistic anymore. So, a lot of the advice I've given to my clients is, set reasonable expectations and shorter term goals. Like, we don't even know what next week's going to look like, or next month, or 6 months, down the road. So maybe it's 1 or 2 week increments of goal setting, clear expectations of, here are the outputs or tasks or deliverables I expect from you in this 2-week period. How you choose to manage your time to get that done is up to you. So there needs to be flexibility, not the check-ins to make sure I'm clocking that you're online 8 hours a day between these core hours, but that you're just getting the work done.
I love that. I think that's so smart, because like you were saying that, you sort of have to fit it into the time blocks that you have right now, whether you have kids at home or not, or if you're finding that, you're feeling stressed out or anxious and you need to take time to, do yoga or meditate or go outside for a walk, but you're still able to get your stuff done. And then one thing that we haven't touched on yet is for those that maybe aren't working, any thoughts on, how they can maybe stay engaged or be prepared so that when they are able to return to work, or any way that we can help them right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, I'll say I'm somewhat jealous sometimes because I wish I had more time. But I think even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, and really appreciating for people that have experienced job loss, how real and stressful that is. And so, my heart goes out to everybody who is going through that right now. It's a really difficult time. I think it's just about taking the time to sort of figure out, what does the next step look like in uncertain times. So what do I have control over right now? I may not have control over the job market. I may not have control over timelines. We don't know when we're going to go back. We don't know what that's going to look like. So all you have control over is, an opportunity for some self-reflection, taking stock of, what are my skills? What are the things I'm good at? What are the areas I have experience in? And potentially doing some research and thought around, where might there be opportunity either right now? So thinking about, what are the essential services that are still at work? What are those businesses or industries that are continuing to work? Are they still hiring? I'll tell you, one of my projects right now is contract recruiting for an essential service company in a manufacturing industry. There are companies hiring. So get on LinkedIn, get on Indeed, start looking for what's out there. And there are opportunities. The other thing to think about is, this is an opportunity to take time and redo your resume. There's lots of great resources on LinkedIn, as well as the employment websites for each of the provincial governments have a lot of great tips and information there. So, these are times to also do some, self-reflection about, if you were ever considering a career change or an opportunity to do something different. We've been granted the gift of time, if nothing else, to really do some thoughtful reflection on that.
Totally. Hey, now before, when we were chatting about having this discussion, one thing that we talked about was, what if you're alone right now and feeling completely demotivated? And you sort of mentioned maybe even doing like a little peer sort of brainstorm around your skills and stuff. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my heart goes out to people that are isolating alone. That's really difficult. And, even before this happened, I do a lot of career coaching, and I'll often suggest to people to reach out to a friend or a former coworker, or maybe an old boss that you've worked with, and ask them, hey, what were some things that you saw in me? What were some strengths, some things that you thought I was good at? Where do you think I might be able to find work? What might be some opportunity areas for me? Often we don't see those things in ourselves, but other people do. And so I think reaching out to the network that you have to get some advice and guidance, also an opportunity for connection and an opportunity to expand your current network of people that might be aware of opportunities that exist. We also had talked, Jess and Caitlin, about, if there isn't an opportunity right this second to get paid work, is there an opportunity to volunteer, to help somebody else, or help a business that, a local business that might be struggling but could still use some support? That's an opportunity to gain some skills in a different area and do a great thing as well. And again, expand your network and references for future opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And then you're still, you could still be socializing, you're still having conversations with other people. So you're getting that human connection, even if it is, through the screen like we do here. Yeah, and another skill to add to the resume, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. So we did have a few people send in some questions or comments. And I thought maybe we could just talk a little bit about some of that. So we posted one thing that I thought was really interesting is we posted a yes or no question on Instagram yesterday, and it was, do you feel like you are as productive now as you were before COVID? And I expected everybody to say no, but we actually had a pretty positive response on that, which was great. I mean, it's good to know. And it was, I think we had 78% of people say that, yes, they are feeling as productive now. And I found that to be really positive and great, because obviously people are figuring out how to cope and how to continue to be relevant and keep their business going and talk to, their clients and stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to point that one out.
I thought that was really interesting too, and kind of surprising, to be honest. I'm interested to know, it would be interesting to see if, what percentage of those people were working versus not working, to see what productive looks like. But I think, it points to what we talked about at the very beginning, that we're used to being busy people. And, I think it's hard to function not being busy, and for those of us that are parents, we go from school and drop-offs and pickups and sports and activities and all this stuff, to not having those things now, that I think it's just sort of in our nature to be busy. So perhaps people are finding ways to fill their time, either whether that's working or with other things that maybe they haven't had time to do in the past. So I think those are both really positive.
Mm-hmm. One of our followers, Robin, mentioned that she stays on task and productive by writing down her daily goals. And I think if you are feeling unmotivated or anything like that, getting yourself a planner and writing down and time blocking again, and even make room for rest and make room for journaling or working out or going outside, or even 30 minutes, call your mom or something like that, along with the little bit of work that you do each day. I think that helps people feel productive. It keeps them on routine and motivated as well. And it's such an easy thing to do.
Absolutely. Caitlin, I just giggled because I pulled this off of my computer. I don't know if you can see.
Intention for today.
Oh.
So I have this note that I keep on my computer screen, and it's just sort of a reminder of, what is my intention for today? Is it to be productive? Is it to be calmer? Is it to have more patience? Whatever the intention is for the day, and it looks very different for me day to day, I'll be honest about that. But I think you're right, just to sort of have a plan. If you're a scheduled person and you're really struggling not having that schedule, create a schedule. Silly as that sounds, it might be, I'm going to get up at this time during this time period, I'm going to exercise or read a book or whatever it is, if that's helpful to you to sort of have a plan for the day, to make yourself feel like you've accomplished something and be able to look back on that. That's important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so one person said, well, I'm now an expert in pandemic controls.
I'm not sure what he means. Does he mean that he is like in the situation, or that he knows how to control it?
I think because if people are still working and maybe having to see the public, they've had to put out all of these safety protocols, right? And that has been keeping people very, very busy. I know my husband's business, that's been one of their things is like, you know, what can we do to ensure the safety of our people that are still working right now? So that's a whole nother side of it, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think this will be a big area of work for the future going forward, right? Is, you know, health and safety, you know, all of these kind of things that, you know, our work world is going, I don't think it's ever going to be the same. I don't think those arrows in the grocery store are going away anytime soon. You know, so I think he's right. Like, you know, all of these things that we didn't think about before will become a big part of our lives. And, you know, some of us will become experts in some of those areas, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, okay. So one of our followers is not working. She's missing it, missing all of her wonderful clients. She's also missing money. So I think this could be a really hard time for her. Thoughts on that, you guys? Caitlin and Christy?
Well, I think, you know, maybe just one point that we talked a little bit about other ways to sort of, you know, fill your time if you're not working, but I would just encourage her, like I said before, to reach out to her clients and stay connected, see what they're doing, how they are. And, you know, I'm hopeful that eventually we will get back to some sense of a new normal. And it'll be important then, you know, from a business perspective, the people that have stayed in touch will be the ones top of mind when we go back to whatever new looks like. Caitlin, what are your thoughts?
I think when the stress of finances comes up, it can be good to maybe start thinking about ways that you can simplify even just like your day to day, and focusing on things you can control, like you'd mentioned before, Christy. And even if that's cooking a nutritious meal, or again, getting some fresh air and just starting to appreciate the little things in your day-to-day life so you still feel a sense of richness and gratitude and abundance in other ways.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, reaching out to other friends and people you might know that are up on some of their current relief measures. I know that can be a really complex world to try to navigate right now, and it seems to be changing week to week, what's available, how to access it. So reaching out to people that, you know, even similar small businesses, if you're an entrepreneur, that might be aware of some of those measures and changes, and take advantage of some of those things. But I think you're right, simplifying is really critical right now.
Mm-hmm.
I also find that moving my body has been really helpful for me. And there was a period of time where, because I wasn't able to go into the studio, that I didn't do a lot. And I've sort of started to be okay with, you know, taking an online class or teaching an online class. I know, Christy, you and I have taken classes together online, and Caitlin, you and I have done classes together and online. And that's been really, really helpful for me. And it's, you know, even though my kids are still here and they might jump on me when I'm doing it or whatever, but moving my body has really helped to sort of just ground me and calm me down. And then I can focus on, okay, what is my task for the day and what is my plan? So that's been really helpful for me, just to like move and breathe and maybe spend some time outside, which I know you guys have both touched on. And then the other one was, Christy, you mentioned the gift of time. And I've always really had so much inspiration and motivation from mentors in my life and in my career. And this might be a good time to reach out to those of the people that you admire and that you maybe want to talk to right now, because they might have a little bit of extra time and be willing to talk to you.
Yeah,
sorts of things right now.
That's a great suggestion. I think I love that. And I think, you know, either reach out and be a mentor and also reach out to somebody else that maybe could use some mentorship. I
Are
love
they
that.
running that mentorship program, Christy, at the U of A?
Pardon?
Are they still running that mentorship program right now?
Yeah, they are. I think they're going into sort of their second year of that probably this fall.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad that's
You know, Jess, I was just thinking too about you talking about movement and how important that is. And for me, a big part of my life was group fitness classes. I love that. And I love the community that comes with that. And so for me, I try to go to every online class that's available. And I know it doesn't really make a difference if I watch it online live or if it's recorded, but there is a difference in my mind to that I feel like I'm sort of part of something that's happening, and I can picture, you know, my instructor where she is in the studio that I used to go to. And there is still a community around that of us all doing the same thing at the same time. And I think there's some energy that comes from that. And, you know, for those that have never done it before, this is also a really great time to try out a new kind of activity or fitness that maybe you had some reservations of trying out or felt embarrassed to try out. This is the time.
totally.
Yeah.
And you can always end early and nobody will know.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, I think that's it. Is there anything else that either of you guys want to cover or talk about?
I think we got it.
Yeah, I think I would just offer, you know, words of encouragement that this is all, you know, some days are strange and difficult. Some days are great and easy. Be kind to yourself, be gentle to others. You know, this has brought the world together in different ways. And I think, you know, we will get through this. And so I just offer encouragement and support.
Thank you so much, Christy.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Good. Well, we can